Hi, this is Kevin Gong. In this video, I'm going to explain how to checkmate with the king and two rooks versus the king. So the first thing you need to know is that you don't actually need to use your king at all to do this checkmate. If you can force the opposing king to the edge of the board and put one of your rooks on the row next to it, then you can bring your other rook down to the same row as the opposing king, and that's checkmate. So this rook at h8 guards this row, and the rook at g7 guards this row. So the next question is, how do you force the opposing king to the edge of the board? So in theory, it's actually really simple. If you have this position where you've got the two rooks on two rows next to the opposing king, then you just move the rook that's furthest away up two rows onto the same row as the opposing king, and that forces it to move up. Okay, and then you just repeat the process. Now you move this rook up two rows, and it has to move up. So you just alternate rooks, and eventually he reaches the edge, and then that's checkmate. So that's like kind of the ideal case if the opposing king is away from your rooks. But in practice, the opposing king might get close enough to your rooks to kind of mess things up. So let's try and do the same thing here. We'll move our rook at h2 up two rows. But now the opposing king is so close that we can't move this rook on g3 up to g5 because he would just take it. So there's a couple ways that you can try to deal with this problem. I'll show you one way, which is simply to just run away. Try to run away to the opposite side of the board so that he can't bother us. So the theory is that we'll go here and then we'll move up to a5 on the next move. But suppose he moves his king over to g5 and harasses your other rook, then you have to move it to the other side of the board as well. And now he's far enough away that you can resume rolling your rooks up the board. Okay, but again here he's too close. You can't move the rook at b6 up to b8 because he's too close. So run away to the edge of the board. Again, he attacks your other rook. Just move that rook to the other side of the board, and then that's checkmate. So that's one way to deal with the problem of the opposing king harassing your rooks. So I'm going to show you another method. So let's go back to this position. Now instead of running away, here we could use a tempo move. So if we just move our king, it forces him to move away so that he isn't close enough to harass our rooks. So he moves there, then we can move our rook down. Okay. Then if he harasses again, in this position we can't use a tempo move because we just move our king, he'll take our rook. So we have the option of running away, or we can just bring this rook over to h5 and protect it. So not only does it protect it, but it kind of acts as a tempo move because the opposing king is forced to move away now. Okay, so now he moves away, so we can bring either of these two rooks to the 6th rank. Okay, and then we can just repeat the same trick of putting the two rooks together to protect each other. Now suppose he moves to the 8th rank instead of sliding over. In that case, we can just move this rook to the 7th rank, restrict him to the edge, and then he's forced to slide over, and checkmate. Okay, so those are the two basic ways of dealing with the opposing king harassing your rooks. Either you can run away, or you can have them protect each other. So let's look at an example. So here's just kind of a general position. The opposing king's in the middle of the board. Our rooks are not connected to each other. So the first question you have to ask is, which direction are we going to force his king? So he's closest to these two edges. So you probably want to force him to one of those two edges. So let's say we want to force him to the A file. So we'll move our rook over to the E file. And he's going to try to attack us. We'll bring our other rook over, force him to the C file. Okay. So now he's close enough that we can't move to C8. So we'll just run away. Okay. And then we can move to the C file and just kind of use that rolling rook method. Okay, so now in this position, we can't move the rook at c3 to a3 for checkmate. You could run away up to c8 and then checkmate him on the next move on a8. I kind of like a tempo move here. Just move the king somewhere. Doesn't really matter where. And then he's forced to slide over to a5, and then you can bring the rook to a3 for checkmate. Okay, so that was kind of a general application of what we've learned so far. So I want to show you that you don't actually need to get the opposing king onto the edge of the board. Now this is a little strange because you probably wouldn't do this in practice very much, but you might have the occasion to do it once in a while. If you get the kings in opposition and you have one of your rooks behind the opposing king, then you can just bring your other rook up here for checkmate. So you can think of it like this. It's almost like if the fifth rank were the edge of the board, and this rook was a queen, then it's kind of like, you know, if you looked at my earlier video on checkmating with the king and queen, you got the kings in opposition, you just move the queen, in this case the rook, to the same row as king, and that's checkmate. And this rook here kind of makes it like the edge of the board. So finally, I want to mention that no matter what position you have with the king and two rooks, you can always find checkmate in 7 moves or less. So this is one of the cases where you'll need 7 moves. So how would you do this? So if you move the rook at a8, which is under attack by the opposing king, if you move it over to h8, and then eventually move it down to h5, and then eventually force the opposing king to the 8th rank. That'll come out to 8 moves, but you can actually do better. You can do 7 moves. If you move your rook over to d8, you're confining him to the A, B, and C files instead of confining him to the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th ranks after your first move. So let's say he comes and attacks you. You just run away, and then you can use the trick of having the 2 rooks protecting each other, and we've seen this before. Okay, so just kind of going back, you can count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one way to practice is just, you know, take the king and 2 rooks and the opposing king and set them up on the board in any position, just kind of randomly, and see if you can do a checkmate in 7 moves or less. You should be able to. So, and obviously, you know, the fewer moves you do, the better. So I hope you can checkmate with 2 rooks now. Thanks for watching.